screen and see what we got going on here. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Oh, there you go. Somebody found Mousetrap just saying that's close to me. Do. Here comes the screen. There's a stupid ad. We'll get rid of that. That's gone. I'll get rid of the ad on the side so I can see the comments, and that's gone. Okay, so we're good. Happy Tuesday, guys. All right, so I guess we'll get started here. It was a nice bitter 11 degrees outside right now. It's supposed to drop down to 8 overnight. So, yeah, we are actually colder now than it was that Christmas freeze that we had, a year and a half ago or whatever it was. So make sure you got the water dripping in your pipes and everything ready. We had a power outage here yesterday. You guys might have saw me talk about it real quick. But it was nice. I was able to hook everything up, have it all plugged in, whatever I needed to be real quick, in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and we were back powered and everything. And as soon as I went ready to go to the garage to hook up that freezer, the lights came back on. So, but it was a good test. It was one of those things where Mrs. P and I were like, okay, what do we do? And it was plug this in, plug that in, plug this in, start the heater, and off and running we go. We did run the propane heater all day today to take the chill out of the house and keep the electricity bill down. So, I mean, not that it's going to heat the whole house, but I think the heater I got does 1,000 square feet or something like that. So, figure heat rises, but it actually warmed up the house to the point we keep the thermostat usually at 66. And with the heater running, at least the downstairs thermostat was up at 71. So that it works. It's the thing. It was a good backup prep to put in place that served its purpose, even though we had power. It just took a little bit of the pressure off of our HVAC system and my electric bill. So that was a good thing. By now everybody pretty much knows what happened in Iowa yesterday. It was funny how hearing some of the stuff like I talked about this morning, the Iowa governor saying if Trump doesn't get to 50%, and he did. I got a kick out of it. Nikki Haley's speech. Well, we've proven today that it's a 2-horse race. Like, Nikki, DeSantis beat you by 2 points. Okay, he had 10% more of the vote than you did. You won one county. And you want to know how much she won that one county by? Nikki Haley got 1,271 votes. Donald Trump got 1,270. Nikki Haley won that county by 1 vote. And she's thinking, oh, I'm now the contender. The New Hampshire debate, right? Okay. Ron DeSantis said he's going to show up. Nikki Haley says, I'm not coming unless Donald Trump or Joe Biden show up. Nikki, don't go. Nobody cares. You're not getting the nomination and you won't be part of the administration. Your political career is over as soon as you suspend your campaign, which will probably happen in about 2.5 weeks. So, yes, you can go back home to South Carolina and raise vegetables or do whatever, but your political career is effectively over. So, good riddance to bad rubbish. We don't need another neocon rhino. It's why the media and everybody is saying, oh, Nikki Haley. Why? Because they want another establishment president. The public doesn't. Okay. Got a kick out. Even the Wall Street Journal today was saying that Ron DeSantis should drop out. If DeSantis drops out, you can pretty much bet most, if not all, of his supporters will move over into the Trump camp because DeSantis is MAGA light. Nikki Haley is Hillary Clinton light. So, don't see a whole lot happening there with her campaign as much as the media is trying to push it. The media's whole idea with all of this is they want to make it sound like there's a potential for Trump to be taken down so they can get the eyeballs and the clicks. Okay. It's over. I mean, it's done, guys. You know it, I know it, and everybody else knows it. We might as well just start the general election campaign right now. It's Trump v. Biden too. So, uh, and we'll see how much the Democrat cheat machine goes. Kamala Harris out today going, we don't care who they run, we're going to destroy them. Right. Okay. The only way you're going to do that is illegally again. But not that should come as a surprise to anybody. Other than that, it's just been pretty much peaceful, other than some little bullshit going on in Washington and everybody digging out from this cold. We got another storm heading in. If you guys know, on the West Coast, what is it? Irene, I think it is. I think that's the name of it. Is already underway, and it's supposed to actually be colder with this storm through here, at least, through the next storm than it is now. So we'll see what happens, but we're not out of the woods. I mean, it's January, it's winter, guys, so guess what? This happens, global warming, bullshit. Pretty simple. So, all right, that is the extent of the enjoyment for today. Let's get into some Q&A. I will remind everybody, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. It just makes it easier for me to find everything, keeps the live stream flowing faster if I can find questions quicker. The only thing I require, as usual, is that we treat everybody in here with dignity and respect. Okay, disagreements, fine, but if you want to be an asshole, go somewhere else. Okay. Trust me, if you want to make insulting comments to me, I'll never see them because I'm behind in the chat. My mods will get rid of it so fast it isn't funny. So if you got a bone to pick with me, don't bother. Okay, send me an email and I'll just block and delete you anyway. So easy enough. Talk about free speech. Talk about free speech all you want. Okay, but I don't care. Okay. Decorum, manners. Yeah, those sort of things still matter to me. All right, let's get up to the top and we'll get going here. If I can find, there we go. There's all the 5x5s. So yeah, I didn't even check that. So you guys can see me. That's good. Soul Reaper says, good evening. Hope all is well and that I'm staying warm. The only time we're going outside the last couple of days to let the dog out. That's it. I'll take it back. I did run out to the garage yesterday to make sure that the freezers kicked back on. So that was it. Sojourner, testing preps this coming weekend with the storm incoming. Good idea. Okay. Again, it's like anything else. Use these storms as a readiness test. Okay. And we talk about all the time, turn the power off and see how you work everything. That's good practice. Okay. But you have a fail safe. Okay. It's oh crap, we don't have that. Turn on the power real quick. And there's a bunch of people that do that. Oh, I want to cook dinner. Can we turn on the power for 20 minutes, right? When the power goes out, you don't have that option. So use this as a chance to practice, chance to test, chance to see what your reaction time is. Okay, how long does it take you to hook up your refrigerators, hook up your freezers, find your flashlights, do whatever? And then work to improve that. Okay. I mean, that's, the whole thing, because here's the point. We all knew this storm was coming. Not that you go to the grocery store and realize that because, oh my God, it's snowing. I've got to run to the grocery store because, the Weather Channel, the news didn't tell you days ahead of time it was coming, kind of like a hurricane, right? But what happens when it's like a tornado? It happens now, What happens if there's an EMP? You're not getting 3 days notification. If you're lucky, you may have half an hour's notification by an alert on your phone saying there's just been a nuclear launch from North Korea or from Russia. Okay, that's it. Ain't enough time to run to the grocery store and go get milk and eggs. So, be ready. Remember, when the balloon goes up, we're not getting notified. Okay, it's just going to happen. Let's see. Indiana mom, does my propane heater use any electricity? Yes and no. Uh, it does if I want to run the fan, which I ran the fan all day, no problem. Okay. I don't have to run the fan. It will just heat. Now, of course, running the fan, it's going to blow all the hot air out amongst the room. If not, it's going to have to dissipate on its own. However, I can always hook it up to a generator, but I do not need to use the fan if I don't have any electricity. I mean, if I have a choice of running the fan or keeping my refrigerator and my food good, the food stays good. Okay. But no, the propane heater will work all by itself. Uh, do. Early music diva, Pinball, what do you think is the reasoning behind the red light lighting when the Spud talks to us? Yeah, isn't that interesting? Every time he gives, not every time, but when he has a planned speech, when it's not standing out on an Air Force tarmac or something like that, you know, it's it's straight out of 1984. I mean, the way I look at that, y'all remember the movie The Wall, the Pink Floyd rock opera? That's kind of what Biden's speech is, with the eerie look behind him is, and we all know what the premise to The Wall was, okay? But it's I don't know if they're trying to make him look evil or if they're trying to bring out the communist in him or whatever. But I mean, that crimson red that they think is good lighting behind him is just unbecoming of a head of state. Okay, I mean I can see that behind an Adolf Hitler. You know, that's the camp Joe Biden wants to play in. It is what it is. But yeah, it's. I mean, the man is despicable, and I mean that's a compliment, I think. Uh, Lake Girl, Vivek now with President Trump in New Hampshire. Yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out of the race yesterday. Not a big surprise. I mean, the funny one I caught is Asa Hutchinson dropped out of the race yesterday too. I'm like, you were still in it? I think he got it was either 181 or 191 votes is what Asa Hutchinson got in a state, not a county, not in a precinct, in the state. Okay, you think you might have known beforehand you weren't going anywhere. Save a little bit of money, but Vivek Ramaswamy will probably have some sort of place in the Trump administration. I saw a story today saying that Trump might make him press secretary. That's a joke, okay? No offense to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, or, I mean, she parlayed that position into being the governor of Arkansas, okay? But Ramaswamy is a tad more articulate than Karine Jean-Pierre, a tad, okay, a Jen Psaki, that would be wasting his talent. Where I could see Ramaswamy is being Trump's chief of staff. That would be, I could see that. Again, remember, this guy is a biotech multimillionaire. All right, he's doing politics. He doesn't need the money either. Okay, but he's not going to take an entry level position. Let's put it that way. Off the wall prepper, thank you for the super chat. Pinball for president? No, no. Sojourner says Nikki is done. Nikki was done 6 months ago. I mean, she's just, a pimple on some teenage kid's ass at this point. She's just a pain. Original one shot, one kill. I just answered the same question about Vivek. Okay, got you there. Let's see. Lisa Lawson, I can all kinds of beans this time of year. It keeps us warmer and busy in the house. There you go. I mean, not a bad idea. If you got a bunch of dried beans from last year or whatever, and you want to can them, I mean, you all know you got to soak beans or whatever, but you can can them, put water in there and you'll basically soak them by canning them. But sure, think about that. You're getting two things done at once. You're getting some food canned and you're also releasing some heat in the house. So, not a bad idea. It's like cooking over the fireplace or something like that. You're gonna use that heat anyway. Might as well get two purposes out of it, right? Recycling your fire. Let's see. Estate 985. Happy Trump beat him again day. There you go. Mary SCHN. I'm assuming that's either an abbreviation or the beginning of some name or something. What propane heater do I have and use for an outage? It's a wall-mounted heater by, oh crap, what's the name? Bluegrass, something like Bluegrass Limited or something. I mean, basically, it's one of these that you can get on Amazon or Home Depot or Lowe's. I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's just a wall-mounted heater. It's about that wide, but 8 inches, 6 inches to 8 inches wide at the bottom, 4 inches wide at the top. Blue flame heater. Ours is propane because we got the propane tank. You can have the natural gas one if you've got natural gas hookup. Though again, remember this, if you're on city gas or something, if the grid goes down, so does your gas, okay? I mean, this is about it. So you've got to have your own source of fuel. Now, being where I am, okay, propane, we all have propane tanks in our yard to fuel whatever's gas powered. So I've got a 1,000-gallon tank out back, and so I just had it hooked into that. No big deal. So we tapped into that line. Yes, I had that done professionally. I don't mess with gas lines. I don't mess with electric, stuff like that. I don't feel like blowing up my house, okay? Professionals have a job for a reason. If it gets to a point in an SHTF situation where I have to do something on my own, okay, then we'll figure it out. As of right now, no, I'll have a pro do it. But, there's a reason that they go to trade school and learn how to do this. It's not, some of these things are not DIY projects. However, if you want something like that, you could easily hook it up. There's a adapter to hook it up to a barbecue grill tank, one of those 20-pound tanks that you put under your grill, or you can get one of the big stand-up tubes of propane. You could hook it up that way too. They'll make sure you got a dolly because you're not moving that thing around any other way. But yeah, I mean, there's an idea, and it doesn't have to be mounted to the wall either. There's also feet on it. You can just stand it on the floor. So it is something that is bigger and more efficient than a Big Buddy heater. Not quite as portable, but a Big Buddy heater is not going to cut. It's the same premise, okay? A Big Buddy heater is just not going to do the square footage that this one is. This is like the equivalent of maybe 2 or 3 Big Buddies. Same idea. Kay Webbles, pinball, have I ever been in a fist fight? Yes. I told you the story about being in high school when some kid decided he was going to pick on me I think I was a sophomore in high school. And I was skinny. I was tall. I mean, high school was probably 6'6", 6'7", weighed 150 pounds, right? And some kid thought he'd be funny as I was walking down the hallway to the cafeteria for lunch, and I had my sack lunch in my hand. And he thought it would be funny to come up behind me and knock my lunch out of my hand. And I just stopped in my tracks, turned around, and put him through a window. Simple as that. The reason I did that was when I was little, and this is when I was living in Chicago. and I still remember the kid's name. Uh, I was probably, I'd say maybe 7. And there was a kid up the street who was a couple of years older than me, and he liked to pick on me. And I remember my dad telling me once, because I'd get in a fight with them and stuff like that. He's bigger than me, you know. I remember my dad telling me, because eventually it got to the point where he'd do something and I'd run. I remember my dad telling me one time, he says, if I ever see you run from him again, he goes, you don't have to worry how hard he's going to beat the crap out of you, because I'll beat the crap out of you. And so one time it happened that he was chasing me home from the school bus or whatever it was. And here comes my dad's car up the street. And Dad tells this story. He says, I stopped. He says, I turned around. I ran back to Paul. I won't give you his last name. And proceeded to beat the living crap out of him. Okay. I know what my abilities are. I just have a tendency to be a little bit more reserved, because now at my size, I could beat the living shit out of probably 95% of the people in the country. Not trying to be a smart ass or a hard ass or anything like that. I'm just 6'8", nearly 300 pounds. I'm bigger than you are. That's it. So, but yes, I've been in many fist fights. My buddy Brett, who you know, we actually met in a fist fight. So that was how we met each other the first time. Not against each other. Toon Master 420, the U.S. is bombing Yemen right now. Go figure, Joe needs a war. Joe's going to start a war with anybody, okay? Not that I have any problem with annihilating radical Islamism everywhere, okay? If you can tell me that you can destroy every Houthi, every Hamas member, every Hezbollah member, every Hamas, every Hezbollah, every Houthi supporter, I'm all for it. I don't care who does it. I don't care if it's the Jews. I don't care if it's the Chinese. I don't care. Anybody that, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Whoever wants to eradicate radical Islam from the face of the earth, I'll support you in that. Doug, DeSantis is no longer MAGA right. No, he's not, okay? He's MAGA light, is what I said. He has, as his, the stupidest campaign line ever. I'm all the same as Trump without the baggage. Great, that tells us a whole lot. So basically, you have no ideas of your own. Not exactly a campaign, the politician that I want to follow that says, hey, I can't think for myself, but I'll do what the other guy does. But his ideas are more Trump oriented than certainly Nikki Haley oriented. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Lorna says, don't believe Robert. I don't believe any of you guys. Texas Rose, I'm happy my generator setup worked out great for you and Mrs. P. Yeah, me too. So there was a lot of headache to get it going and working, but it's up and running. So Just Arizona, Vivek is bought by good old George Soros. That has been debunked I don't know how many times, just like the thing that he was a member of the WEF. That's been debunked many times. So keep spreading the same lie and it's not going to come true. Winter Homestead, they have something up there. Oh crap, here we go again. I see the, nope, all right, there we go. I saw the spinning on my screen. Winter Homestead, they have something up their sleeves. They are PO'd because of the landslide with Trump. Oh yeah, of course they're PO'd. I mean, everyone, I told you last week, I can't wait to see the egg on everybody's face. Fox News, who's, writing, commercials for Nikki Haley and disguising them as news articles. They all figured, oh, if we can convince a bunch of Democrats to change to be Republicans for a day, we can make Nikki Haley's showing look better. Yeah, that worked well. She was supposed to beat Ron DeSantis and couldn't even manage to do that. Okay. oh, they had a great showing, like I said yesterday. You know, Trump getting 1 out of every 2 voters wasn't going to be a good showing, but Nikki Haley getting 1 out of every 5 was. Gotcha. There's a mathematical wizard for you. Remember this: Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis combined got 10% less of the vote than Donald Trump did. Telling you that one. Remember that. Yeah. But, oh, well, we're banking on New Hampshire. Good luck. You're going to lose there too. That's what I said. DeSantis will be out after New Hampshire. Nikki Haley will be out after she's completely embarrassed in her home state of South Carolina. So, when Nikki Haley loses South Carolina by 20 points, I'm going to laugh. Krista J, who do I think will be Trump's running mate? Boy, we get this question a bit. I still think there's a lot of talk lately that Ben Carson is now at the top of the list. Okay. And not that Ben Carson would be unqualified for it by any means. Here's the problem with Ben Carson is you will instantly hear the media, the mainstream media, saying, oh, it's a diversity pick. Trump only picked him because he's black. That's because the only thing the Democrat Party has is the race card. That's it, okay? You go back in history, go back to the Civil War. The Democrats have always been the party of racism. Always, okay? They're the ones that were against civil rights. They're the ones that were against Jim Crow. They're the ones that wanted slavery, and yet, for some reason, the black community votes for Democrats. Don't ask me, okay? But, the Democrats certainly aren't for the poor. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates ain't hurting for a meal tonight. But they'll go after Ben Carson because that's what they'll say. The only reason he picked him, Ben Carson's an extremely smart man, okay? This is a guy who worked his way out of the projects to become one of the premier surgeons in the world, okay? Yeah, I'd say he's a smart guy. Okay? Remember, he was the HUD secretary for Trump first time around. You always get to talk on Tucker Carlson. I don't see that happening. You get to talk about Kari Lake, okay? Arizona. Kari Lake could make a very interesting pick. Of course, they would say, oh, you only picked her because she's a woman. Now, to get back to carrying Arizona, that's important so I can see this. I think that one you have to watch to see, because remember, Kari Lake's running for Senate, okay, against Kyrsten Sinema, or at least for Kyrsten Sinema's seat. Here's the catch. If Kari Lake is looking good in the polls to win that seat, I don't think Trump picks her, okay? Strategy-wise, we'd rather keep the Arizona Senate seat and have a better chance of flipping the Senate, okay? So then that brings up the next person that I'd like to see, which would be Kristi Noem. But the only thing she brings to the table, again, is we're going to get into the female card. It's not like there's any risk that South Dakota is going to vote for Joe Biden. Okay. There's talk about Doug Burgum, from North Dakota. He doesn't bring anything to the table. So we don't know. But if I'm putting my bet out there right now, I'd say either Ben Carson or Kristi Noem would be the choice. Not because of the race issue or gender issue or whatever, just because I think they are the most competent and that they can actually bring a crowd to help generate the enthusiasm for the polls. Because the one thing Trump is going to need is a huge ground game to win in November, because he's got to defeat the Democratic cheat machine. And, it's what I was saying the other day. Every one of us needs to be watching polls, watching boxes, everything to be making, I'm not saying all of us, I'm saying every non-Democrat voter, okay, needs to be watching for the Democrat cheat and getting the information to the proper authorities immediately. Hey, there's a guy that just came in and dropped 50 ballots in this box. Hello, police. I need you here right now. That's what needs to happen. Creeping time. What are my thoughts on Ramaswamy being Trump's VP? Maybe. I don't, like I said, I think a better spot for him is chief of staff. Could I be wrong? Oh, absolutely. All right. But, they're cut from a relatively similar cloth, though they do have some serious policy differences. And unless Vivek changes his tune, which is not going to be a good look, I don't think that's feasible. My opinion. Well, you guys are all over the Trump VP question. I just saw another one. We shot to the bottom here. Okay. Just Arizona, Vivek just wants a foot in the door. Like I said, I think chief of staff is a good spot for him. Holly H., how about all those stranded EV cars? Your opinion on where our green policy's headed? Our green policy's heading to the toilet. Okay. Yeah. All these stories about Chicago and all the EV cars frozen. All the EV car chargers frozen. What were they doing? They were using gas-powered vehicles to pull the cars out off the road or push them to a place where they could charge or whatever. I mean, John Kerry is dropping out as climate czar because he sees the writing on the wall. They're going to lose. The position's not, and Trump is going, the end with us in any of these. Remember, he got us out of the Paris Accords. I think the Kyoto Protocol was gone before Trump got in. But this is all this green energy bullshit that they keep coming up with. I got a kick out of, if you saw this story, Joe Manchin, we all know who he is, rumored by Super Tuesday, he may throw his hat in the ring under the No Labels party, but he's going to ask Joe Biden first if he should run. What? I mean, Joe Manchin, if you're going to go ask Joe Biden if you're going to run, all you're looking for is a payout. Hey, unless you give me 5% of the 10% of the kickbacks you get, I'm running against you and I'll make sure you lose, right? That's what's going on there. But, so Manchin was out in a restaurant, I think it was a restaurant, and a bunch of these climate morons decided to raise hell with him and chased him out of the restaurant through the kitchen. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and if there's any climate idiots that are watching this channel, please do that when I am in the restaurant, because if you disturb my dinner when I'm paying for a meal, you will be protesting from an emergency room because I will take you out. That's it. Okay. I don't care. Block the road in front of me. I will grab you by the freaking ear and drag you off the road. The end. Okay. And if more people in the United States grew a set and stopped letting these eco-terrorists disrupt our lives, they'd stop real quick. There still are some men in this country that have balls. Not many, but there are some. And we're getting older. Okay. DUS SFC, Director of Security, Space Force Command. Not President, Pinball for Press Secretary. Yeah, right. Okay, that job I'd have fun with. Okay, because there'd be a whole lot of MSNBC and CNN reporters, I hate to use that term for them, with their panties in a bunch and a crying towel going out the door because I can't remember, Trump's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. She used to be pretty good controlling those idiots. I'd have torn him a new asshole. That's it. Uh, Amanda Sieber, TVA is telling us to conserve energy. That's not a surprise. You know, they know, I mean, like I said, it's 11 degrees, it's supposed to go down to 8. They know that electricity is going to be used more. I mean, if you're keeping your house at 66 or 68 or whatever you keep your temperature at, your thermostat at, you know, it's going to be harder to maintain that temperature as the temperature goes down. So they know it's going to go up. And it's not like anything, okay? Hydropower, coal, natural gas, solar, wind, whatever, none of it has unlimited capacity. And so it doesn't, we all should be conserving energy somewhat, okay? If for no other reason than just not to have ridiculous electric bills. I mean, trust me, I'm not thrilled about keeping our thermostat at 66 degrees, okay? But, you know, there's no big deal putting a turtleneck and a hoodie on, all right? So I can stay a little warmer that way. Mrs. P can sit on the couch with a blanket over her. That's fine, you know. If I don't have, you know, my electric bill for December was $213. I don't want to pay that much. You know, I certainly don't, with this cold spell, I certainly don't want a $300 electric bill or whatever. It's like, Christ, you know. I mean, that 125 is bad enough for me. I mean, it's $4 a day, I get it, but Wolf Doctor 13, no to Sarah Huckabee Sanders for VP. She's my governor and we need her here in Arkansas. I never said anything about her being VP. I completely agree with you that she's not VP quality. She does not have the knowledge or experience as of yet, in my opinion. Okay. If she wants to move up in politics, get some experience as a governor, go through. It's kind of like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is out of his league running for president. And the people are recognizing it. He's not ready for prime time. Jeannie Jarvis Maynard, everyone is stocking beans and rice. What do you make with them? Well, beans and rice would be a good start. Red beans and rice is a good meal. Ask anybody from Louisiana. Okay. You know, right there you have a high protein, high carbohydrate meal that you can live on cheaply. Okay. But Mrs. P and I had for dinner the other night my enchilada recipe. Okay. I call them enchiladas. Trust me, that's, you know, it's basically like wet burritos or something of the sort. The only reason I call them enchiladas is because I use enchilada sauce over the top of it mixed with Alfredo sauce. But what's in there? Okay. Whatever meat I got, whether it's chicken or turkey or ground beef or whatever, it's great for using leftovers right there. Rice, beans, onions, corn, tomatoes. Wrap in a tortilla, done. Everything else I can grow in my garden, and I got rice and beans. If I don't have any meat in there, I've still got protein in it. I mean, again, Mrs. P's chicken soups, okay? Rice, great. I mean, I make ham and beans. There's a lot of uses for rice and beans, guys. It's why it's a staple, you know. It's inexpensive. You can store a lot of it for a little bit of money. It's calorie dense. It's high in protein. Figure out 10 recipes that you can make with it. I mean, literally for centuries. I mean, rice is the #1 consumed food on the face of the earth. I mean, there's plenty to make with it. 3/4 of the world eats rice as their main dietary consumable. RLRL, are big propane tanks bulletproof? Okay, let's go into a couple of this. Depends on the size of the bullet. Do I shoot the propane tank with a 22? Do I shoot the propane tank with a 50 cal? Okay. That should answer your question right there. What's the size of the bullet? Second off, do not use Hollywood as your example, okay? You put a bullet in a gas tank of a car, the car is not blowing up. You put a bullet in a propane tank, it's going to fly all over the place because you're releasing all that pressure that's in there. Whether or not you get an explosion, not like you see in Hollywood, okay? It's not going to, all of a sudden, a city block isn't going down because somebody shot your barbecue grill. You want to make it explode, use tracer rounds, that'll make it explode. But yeah, don't. Hollywood's famous for over exaggerating stuff. That's what guys want to watch. Some women, guys are the ones that mostly like action movies. Okay. Brenda Hall McDonald, 12th Amendment will keep Trump and DeSantis from being on the same ticket unless one of them moves. That is not true. There is nothing in the Constitution that says two people can't be from the same state. If we want to take a look at what the 12th Amendment says, I can pull it up. But I know there's a lot of people that interpret that, but let's see. Trying to find the whole context of it here real quick. And I know this has been put in front of legal scholars over and over and over again, and they have said that no, there's nothing that prevents two people from the same state to be on the ballot. Not that Trump is going to pick DeSantis anyway. He's been calling him Ron DeSanctimonious for a year. I wouldn't expect it. So, and it's not me that's saying that that's not, you're misinterpreting the 12th Amendment and all those people are, that's lawyers that are doing this. Constitutional lawyers, not me. Firefly Homestead, what all do I have on propane besides the heater? I didn't build my house. There's a 1,000-gallon propane tank that was here, and the only thing on the house was the oven and the stove. That was it. Everything else was put on electric. Don't ask me why. We were in the house for 4.5 years. Mind you, when you have a propane tank, you only fill it to 80%, okay? So when we moved in the house, the propane tank was full, 80%. So 800 gallons of propane. 4.5 years of living in the house, I topped off the propane last summer. It was at 60%. Okay. So we used 20% of 800 gallons in, so what, 160 gallons in 4 years. Yeah. I'm okay for propane. Now, obviously, we've got the heater. We run that. That's going to use more. When my water heater goes, which is an electric water heater, I'm going to replace it with a propane water heater. But, I mean, other than that, there's nothing else that I can effectively replace. Old Hippie 60, Nikki Haley isn't even her real name. Yeah, we got that. Let's see. Off the wall prepper, propane tanks aren't bulletproof. I'm propane certified. Like I said, depends on the caliber. They're not bulletproof. Yeah. They're not making it in, AR 500 armor or something like that. Let's see. Kathy Shelley, I must be missing something that people are saying Trump Gabbard, no Gabbard. Trump's not picking Tulsi Gabbard, okay? As much as Tulsi Gabbard is saying that she's not not a Democrat anymore, she's certainly not a conservative, okay? She still leans left. She's a moderate Democrat. And there's no chance in the world of Trump winning Hawaii. Tulsi Gabbard brings nothing to the Trump ticket that is useful. If he picked her, or if he picked Nikki Haley, that would be about the stupidest thing he could possibly. He'd lose more votes than he'd get. I mean, if he picks Nikki Haley, I won't vote for him. I'll tell you that right now. Prep Rebel, any plans for ice fishing in my pond? No, the fish are still too little. I'm I'm going to have to look in the spring and see what my population is at best. I mean, we know we lost fish, uh, but I'm going to have to see how well the population looks, if I have to put another stocking in there, or if they're able to uh, reproduce with lay eggs. So we'll see, but no plans on ice fishing. The fish aren't big enough to go catch. Firefly Homestead says Kerry Lake is running for senator. Yep, I had mentioned that. Let's see. Flower Lady 75, did I get everything straightened out with PBJ and her car issue? Hope she's doing good. Yes, she called me today. She took the Mrs. P's car and retitled it and re-registered it and everything like that. So she's got everything taken care of. It's up there. It's in her name. So she's got a vehicle. So we're okay. RLRL says Egypt has started lobbing missiles at Israel. Great. I have not heard anything about that. That ain't good. Yeah. Nostradamus, World War III will be started by a man in a turban. Let's see. Nana Teresa 9532. We put our ventless propane heater on a dolly so that we can take it to a room it's needed in. It's a good idea. Let's take the one I've got. It can stand on feet. Sure. If you want to hook it up to a portable tank, that'd be great. Put it in one room. I mean, for me, I'd have to take it upstairs to a bedroom. But yeah, I could see that as a really good idea. If you're keep it in the room you're going to sleep at night, take it, in my case, downstairs to the kitchen during the day. Makes sense. Good idea. Sojourner, this is a good, somebody emailed me last week about this too. Do not forget to check your preps periodically for damage or failures. Yes. Check those Mylar bags and in 5-gallon buckets and make sure that nothing got in there and chewed through the plastic. Okay. Chewed into the bag. Check your canning jars every once in a while. Make sure a seal didn't come loose or whatever. Somebody had emailed me a week or so ago about 3 cans of chicken that they canned that the seal separated. And all of a sudden there was a real funky smell in their pantry. They figured it out. It was way in the back and the seals broke. So, yeah, I mean, check that stuff because you don't want your false sense of security. I know we're all building pantries bigger and bigger and bigger, still rotating food, but, all trying to get more in storage. Pay attention to your canning jars, your canned goods, store-bought canned goods. I mean, if those cans start to rust, that's dinner tonight. You open that thing up, you see if it's okay on the inside, and that's it. They start to rust. You need to use those. Breed, what about Abbott out of Texas? I'm guessing this is a VP question. Maybe. Garden Maddox saying maybe Marsha Blackburn. Maybe. But again, I'll go with the same thing I said on both of them. What do they bring to the table? Not like Tennessee's going to flip red or flip blue. Chances are Texas ain't going to flip. If Texas flips blue, we're all FUBAR. Okay. There's going to be something that they're going to be able to bring to the table, and on either a national level or a state level. And I don't see Marsha Blackburn or Greg Abbott bringing anything to the table, especially Marsha Blackburn. I think she's very happy being a senator. If she goes any further, if she went any further, I'd be surprised. Lake Girl, possibly General Flynn. I think that would probably be a bad decision for Trump, just because of the baggage that Flynn brings, that the media would destroy him. Terry Hardaway, what's Trump's son-in-law's name? Are you talking Jared Kushner? Now, please don't make him VP. We talked about Tulsi Gabbard. Mike Pompeo. That would be an interesting idea. I mean, it depends. Do we want to make him Secretary of State again, too? Could be. And we shot to the bottom. Hang on. Okay. D. Van Eyck, I will volunteer to go to a battleground state and babysit a ballot box. A grandma with a cell phone might be a harmless deterrent. I'd rather see a grandma with an AR-15, but that would work too. AI, wait until the crackheads find out how much copper is in those Tesla chargers. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 5 pounds. Yeah, so, yeah. Acushnet, do I think the Republicans can stop the Democrats from cheating again? I hope so, because if we have 4 more years of this moron, we can kiss this country goodbye, okay? I mean, at that point, it's, we're going to, the U.S. Army flag will be in rainbow colors. We'll be throwing dildos at the enemy. DEI will be all over the place. I mean, you saw, I forget, it was Southwest the other day that they were promoting their, get this, all lesbian flight crew, pilots and flight attendants. And they got so much pushback on it, they pulled the Twitter post down celebrating it. Okay. It ain't what people want. Was it RuPaul? You know who RuPaul is, okay? Talking about promoting drag queens story hour. People raised 9 kinds of hell. Members of GLAAD, was it the Golden Globes or whatever, were bitching in their, whatever award show it was, were bitching about that there aren't enough transgender characters in movies and in television. Yeah, because Hollywood and, the Burbank and everything are having such great luck with people watching movies and TV shows right now with the stupid crap they're putting in, right? Let's alienate more of the public. I hate to tell you this, most of the country is not supportive of that. You had the Indiana law today. I mean, this one, the Supreme Court blew my mind. Indiana, I guess there was a ruling that some elementary school kid, I think it was, decided they were transgender girl, genetic girl, okay, wanting to use the boys' bathroom, and the school said no, and so the parents sued, and the state of Indiana, red Indiana, said no, this girl can use the boys' bathroom. So it got appealed up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court refused to take the case. So now this girl can still use the boys' bathroom. That ain't gonna turn out too good in a couple of years. I'm just saying. When those hormones get racing for teenagers, that's gonna be a problem. Soapy Gal, will I ever install a wood stove in the house? My plan is, right behind me, is to take out this window and put a fireplace in with fireplace insert. So that is the plan, but that is going to be quite expensive. So that is what Mrs. P and I are trying to save some money for. Because that's obviously a complete construction of everything for it. Early music diva. Unfortunately, Pinball, I'd make any running mate look short. Well, I could always run with Bill de Blasio. No, I couldn't. Yeah. Susan M1224. Do I think the song "Richmond North of Richmond" I'm assuming there should be a should in there, be played at a Trump rally? all depends on the artist, if the artist lets them or doesn't, so, you know, it's, it was a flash in the pan song. Okay. If you wouldn't have mentioned that right now, I haven't thought about that song in months. Okay. Uh, I remember it, couldn't tell you the guy's name. I can picture him sitting on a pickup truck, but uh, yeah, have we heard anything else from him? No, he was a one-hit wonder, strike where the iron's hot, 15 seconds of fame, moving along. So uh Estatine 85, preserve lemons and limes and use those in your rice and soups. Yeah, yeah. I mean, dehydrate them, freeze dry them, whatever you want with lemons and limes. I mean, great for, like you said, adding to rice or something. Perfect. Just Nana, do I think the stolen election will ever be fully acknowledged? I think it's gone as far as it's going to. The Democrats will never admit they cheated. Okay. The Democrats will never admit they were part of killing JFK. But I think everybody knows. It's just, it'll be one of those things where 99 years from now or whenever, when this, the records, the statute of limitations runs out, for keeping all the records secret, and somebody opens it up, they're going to go, oh, gee, you know what? They cheated. So we all know what happened. I mean, you got to be an idiot to think that Joe Biden got 81 million votes. I mean, really? People like Joe Biden that much more than Barack Obama, right? Sure. I know we got 4 minutes. I'm looking to see what else is here. There's a whole lot of no questions. Do. Buzzard, tried to share my panic set-in video multiple times today, but YouTube seems to be blocking it. I don't know what they're blocking. I mean, last I looked, there 30 some odd thousand people watched it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I appreciate you trying to do it. I don't pay attention to whether or not it can be shared or not. If YouTube is doing everything they can. I mean, remember the live stream a couple of weeks ago when they were scrambling the signal on here. Y'all know about. Many of you have told me about. Did you delete my comment? Was it rude? No, then I didn't delete it. Okay, but YouTube is in there deleting comments. They admit that they go through all and delete comments. So, liberals, they don't want the truth to get out either. I will give YouTube a little bit of credit, that they're not completely silencing both sides. Okay. There's obviously certain things that they won't let you talk about, but even reading their new community guidelines, there's nothing in the community guidelines that says I can't say Joe Biden's the biggest jackass that ever walked the face of the earth. So, did we actually get through all the questions, or at least the ones I could? Now, Wolf Doctor 13, any plans for me and Mrs. P to put out a cookbook? No. The recipes for Mrs. P is all in the playlist. The Cooking with Mrs. Pinball. I mean, that's literally the interesting recipes. I mean, you guys don't need to see, and this is how I barbecue a steak. And this is how we make hamburger patties. And this is how we make a meatloaf. And this is how Mrs. P makes baked chicken. I mean, the simple stuff that we all eat. How to fry a pork chop. No, you don't need to see that. We kind of stick it to the recipes around there are something that's either uniquely Russian or something uniquely creative. That's it, but how to do the stuff, this is a box of hamburger helper. Here's how to make it. No. All right. And last one here, Shelly says, why a fireplace and not a wood-burning stove? Pretty much because of the layout of the way of my house, and I'd prefer a fireplace with an insert than a wood-burning stove. Okay, just personal preference. Again, like I've said, we all prep for the world to go to hell. I'm praying to God it never happens. And I'd rather have a fireplace that I can sit in front of and enjoy than a wood-burning stove that, well, it's very efficient and effective, doesn't quite have the same ambiance. So, I kind of try to play some of that in the world goes to hell, the world doesn't go to hell, what's going to work for both? And that's my premise to it all. All right, guys, that's a Tuesday night wrap. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay warm. Pinball out.